Alrighty, here we are. 2 months later than when I wanted to do this, but better late than never. Been doing this for a couple of years now, all the way back to my Heat 3 wish list. We're on to Heat 5. We've made it a long ways, but we got to keep on going. Last year when I did my Heat 4 wish list, the theme of the video was, it's time for change. And I think we got a lot of that in NASCAR Heat 4, but it still wasn't quite enough. So for this year, NASCAR Heat 5, it's time for the next step. So I've got my notes ready to go. I got a couple pages. Okie dokie. So these aren't in really any specific order except for the first one. If we get all the way to NASCAR Heat 5, and I'm still 200 horsepower down when I start my career mode compared to everybody else, I might lose my mind. Inside. What the fuck? What is that? What is that? Now, it's been very clear ever since the early days of NASCAR Heat, the only way they've been able to make it a challenge for you starting off is just to take away your engine power and your straightaway speed. That is very, very annoying. I'm going to reference NASCAR Thunder 2004 a lot because, in my opinion, that is still the greatest career mode game that ever came out of the NASCAR EA games. In NASCAR Thunder 2004, they did it absolutely perfect. Well, not absolute, but as perfect as we have ever seen it. So they took a little bit of engine power away. Obviously, you can make better engines throughout your career mode in NASCAR Thunder 2004, but there's so many other factors that go into you being slow, other than just engine power, like in NASCAR Heat 4. Downforce levels, tire wear, and obviously damage is a big part in that. And unfortunately, the damage in NASCAR Heat 4 it's not good. There's still no DNFs. We're going to tie that into this segment. I won't lie, I think I'll be a little disappointed if we get all the way to NASCAR Heat 5 and still don't have DNFs. I mean, it's a very important part of NASCAR. DNFs, if you crashed out. And obviously, that would play a very big factor in your career mode. And you could go a million and one different directions in how NASCAR Thunder did that. If you crashed out in NASCAR Thunder, you'd have to start from scratch with your engine, and everything would be knocked down a good bit if you DNF'd out of your race. And obviously, you'd lose points and a lot of, I mean, it tied a huge part into NASCAR Thunder 2004, so we don't even have that in NASCAR Heat. Hopefully we can get there, because that would open up the career mode quite a bit. But once again, I can't tell you how many times I've raced Martinsville, Richmond, Phoenix, a lot of these short tracks, but aren't quite short tracks because they got pretty decent long straightaways, and you just get neoned by Timmy Hill and Morgan Shepherd and Mike Harmon, and it's very discouraging. If you've played career mode and you started from the very bottom and on Legend difficulty, you know where I'm coming from there. Every once in a while, I always get somebody like, well, when you start off, you're supposed to be slow. And yes, you're absolutely right, but not 200 horsepower down everybody else in the field. Once again, in games like NASCAR Thunder 2004, you had to worry about your tire wear, you had to worry about your downforce levels. Even your fuel mileage was, pretty bad when you started out. You had all these things to worry about, and also your engine power wasn't as good. But once again, in NASCAR Thunder 2004, you always had somebody to race against. There was always somebody just as bad as you, whether it be only one or two cars, and then as you got better, you're racing with a couple of more guys, and you just slowly work your way up the pack. It was brilliant. Definitely looking for more of that in NASCAR Heat 5. Next up, again, this will be quite a long list of career mode stuffs. Honestly, that's probably what I care about the most, and then I got a lot of miscellaneous stuff here at the end. But we got to rework the paint schemes and the sponsors. Now, we'll talk about paint booth, and apparently NASCAR Heat did a Reddit AMA where they said we're not going to have a paint booth for NASCAR Heat 5. NASCAR Heat Evolution, NASCAR Heat 2, NASCAR Heat 3, NASCAR Heat 4, NASCAR Heat 5 coming this year, 2020, and we still won't have a paint booth. That's a problem. However, in NASCAR Heat Career Mode, it took me a while to realize what bugged me about the sponsors. And again, we're going to throw back to NASCAR Thunder 2004. When you start your career mode, you start off with, like 3 race sponsorship deals. Either way, you get to go through a lot of different sponsors. You don't get to do that in NASCAR Heat 4. You literally sign on for a sponsor, and you have just that one sponsor for the entire season. So for NASCAR Heat 5, that would be a huge deal for career mode. And that's another thing. NASCAR doesn't have those full season sponsorships anymore unless you're Denny Hamlin. So, it should be very, very slim to none on full season sponsorships. You shouldn't even see that really until you get to the Cup Series, at least. And that's another thing. The sponsors are tied to the paint schemes and the manufacturers. So you can't have And I don't know what goes into licensing with that kind of stuff, but if we can loosen that up, that way you can pick your manufacturer and then pick your sponsors. Not only hood sponsor, the side, the back bumper, the quarter panel, all that stuff. That way you could bring in a bunch of different sponsors and you get more of a career mode feel. Because once you sign your sponsorship in NASCAR Heat 4, like that's it for the rest of the season. Dirt Tour, at Trucks Xfinity, I mean, we should see maybe like 10 race deals max. Maybe it goes up gradually until you get to the Cup Series. But there should definitely be some full customization between all your sponsors across the entire car, all with different lengths and different, obviously money and incentives. So, again, that would open up a whole lot for the career mode. Next, and this is a big one. We got to have some driver car ratings, man. When I say that, I mean, this goes for, I guess, Quick Race 2. But this is one thing I thought F1 did really well. In their development, they have a long list of all the teams. All the teams. And I think this would work well for all 3 series in career mode. If we had some sort of list, that way you can see all the development history of all the cars, or all the teams, the NASCAR teams. And some of these, guys are obviously one car teams, but I don't really think it matters. Obviously, all the teams are going to be on the same kind of level here. But most importantly, that way you could see how you kind of stack in there. Because my biggest gripe with NASCAR Heat 4, especially when you start off bad. But like some of the good cars, like Jeff Earhart's a great example in my Xfinity Series season. He literally ran last at Iowa and then won a race like later in the season. I just feel like there needs to be a more set system of like who's good and who's not. Because right now it just feels really random, honestly. When you hop in the race, you just never know who's going to be quick. Like, I need that feeling. Like I want to race with the fast guys that you watch on TV. You know what I mean? I don't want to go up there and race with BJ McLeod for the lead. As you know, it's cool to do that every once in a while, but I'm looking for the realism. So I say we add this team driver ranking system. It'd probably be easier just to do it driver wise, but I think it would look better with the teams. That way you can see how the teams develop. I think that would add a new. That way you could see maybe some of the back marker teams get better, like the Furniture Row effect. You could see them, go up the ranks and actually develop. Or you could see some of the guys, like obviously Roush in the last 10 years, kind of go from up there to go down here. So you could, that could add a nice little dynamic for career mode. It's just an idea. But most importantly, I want to see some sort of ratings. Just some sort of ratings in career mode. That way we get an establishment of who's fast and who's not. And then if you want to go the extra step to have it be a little dynamic, to have some of the faster cars maybe slow down, or some of the slower cars, speed up, or some of the faster cars get faster, you know what I mean? Honestly, I really liked how EA did the rating system in the last couple of games they did. They had individual ratings for each track on the schedule. Short track to super speedway, they had it all. Now, NASCAR Heat's been using this stars system, but they don't even use 5 stars. The lowest the car ratings go for the other teams only goes down to 3. And for a lot of, honestly, all the fields, from Cup to Truck, 3 to 5 stars just don't cut it. So there really needs to be more separation. If you're going to keep with the star system, go down to 1 to 5. Or honestly, I'm a big fan of like NASCAR 2008 has the individual car ratings for each type of track. I think that's pretty cool. And it'd be great for quick races too. If you want to hop in and just race, pick the kind of car you want for the kind of track you want. I think it works really well. I'd really like to see that worked on for the future NASCAR Heat games. Now, this next one, I could go down the rabbit hole for probably an hour and a half. And once again, I still think NASCAR Thunder 2004 did this the very best. The car development, man, we need to rework the car development for NASCAR Heat 4. I'm not a big fan of track-specific chassis, and I'll tell you why. Most of that stuff you can get away with, especially like short tracks. But I feel like it's too big of an impact. I'd like to bring in more so that way it's not that big of a deal. I'd like to have like 4 or 5 different things like NASCAR Thunder 2004 that you had to worry about your car being fast. Your downforce, your engine, your tire wear, I guess your track-specific chassis, sure, why not? And that also brings in crew ratings and everything. That's what I'm saying. We need to take the next step because we're so close to this level. In NASCAR Thunder 2004, you could hire everybody and everybody had ratings. We're getting close to that. We have pit crew ratings now in NASCAR Heat 4, but we need to take that next step. We need to be able to hire your own pit crew members, position by position, all with ratings, and then we got to have pit crew mistakes. We got to take it to the next level, NASCAR Heat 5. We got to do it. We should also be able to hire your crew chief that affects your ratings as well. Maybe a car chief throw in there. And while we're talking about it, just a brief audio thing. Please, dear Lord, Give me one separate man for a crew chief audio and one separate man for spotter audio. That'd just make it so much easier to play. I just can't stand TJ Majors just talking in my ear the whole race. And that whole line where he says, white flag, next time by. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was coming to the checkered when we still had 2 laps to go. Confuses me every time.
White flag, next time by.
All right, next on the list. How are we going to make this career mode even better? That's right. We've made it from NASCAR Heat Evolution to NASCAR Heat 2 to NASCAR Heat 3 to NASCAR Heat 4. And we never got any exhibition races. We got to take the next step. It shouldn't be that hard for NASCAR Heat 5. How do we not have the All-Star race? Like, chassis are like $1 million to buy to improve your team. And we don't have an All-Star race that we can win to win $1 million to help that. We got to have an All-Star race. How do we not have the duels? Hopefully we get enough cars that we, maybe we can have to race our way into the Daytona 500. I want that option. I really do. We got to have the Clash. It's a vital part to the NASCAR season. Next up on the career list. Yeah, so when you win a championship in these games, it really doesn't feel like it. I'd like to have some more of that. I was throwing around, I mean, you could do a lot of different things with this. Right now, if you just win the championship, it's basically the same thing. You load into your burnout thing, and then you load into the same celebration scene where it's just the championship trophy instead of whatever, race trophy you would have won. It's very bland. Also, we've had the same, victory animation for the last, 3 years? I don't think NASCAR Heat Evolution came with one. Maybe it did. I don't remember. By the way, it's basically been the same for as long as these games existed. I'd like to switch it up. Maybe give us a little different visual or something, especially for the championship, though. Maybe we could have, maybe you get a special championship flag. Like somebody or you have a little pit crew guy run out there and give it to you. It's a pretty big part of, the championship celebration these days. Whatever champion gets a nice little champion's flag. I think that'd be a nice little touch. Nothing crazy, but there definitely should be some different animation or something for winning the championship. Because, like I said, you win it in this game, you really don't feel it. Should be a big deal. Should be a big celebration. Could do a lot of things with it for sure. Career. We got to talk about the rival system. I really enjoy that they brought the rival system back, but it was, let's be honest here, it was kind of half-assed. Because once again, we go back to the EA games. It was a very solid system. It went from 0 to 100 each way. So you're either 100 friends, 0 to 100 friends, or 0 to 100 rivals. Right now, it kind of does that, but it never affects anything during the race. It's always after the race, so you load in. You can't do anything mid-race. And once you get to rivals, it's almost impossible because you just can't pass them cleanly unless you really try hard not to. It definitely needs a big rework, and I could talk once again for 15 minutes on how you could possibly rework it, but once again, NASCAR Thunder 2004 did it the best. 0 to 100 allows you a lot of different ways they can retaliate. If you get all the way up to 100, if they see you, they will turn right as hard as they possibly can. Fuck! But if you're 20, 30, they're not going to do much. They might block a little bit extra, but stuff like that. It needs to be widened. I'll probably talk a lot about this in this video. NASCAR Heat, it's got a lot of either or. There's not a lot of middle ground with this game, and it shows in a lot of different aspects of it. The rival system is that. But my biggest thing with the rival system is just how they go about it. Once they become your rival, if they find you, they just turn either left to drive you off the track or turn right all the way until you go into the wall. It's or they just drive right through your rear end. Honestly, I'd rather just take a shot, because there's nothing more infuriating when you're trying to just drive Talladega and your rival just turns left and drives you underneath the line. Why? Why? Jesus! I'm not doing it, Ray. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, Ray. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. Next on the list, I've been preaching this one for a minute. We still haven't got it. The trophy case, once again, one of the selling points it seems like every year. Oh, NASCAR Heat has the officially licensed trophies for each Cup Series track. But we don't have a trophy case to show them off, so that's the point. Again, they use the same trophy for trucks and Busch Series. It literally, I call it the Busch Series, jeez. Every race, they have the same trophy every race. Maybe we could be a little bit more creative and model in a couple new trophies. That way you can, half-ass it with the Xfinity and Truck Series trophy case if you want to add that. If it's just for Cup, whatever. I just want a trophy case. It's just another little bit of incentive to win. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of that in this game. There's really not a lot of incentive to win. It doesn't feel like it. So, I think that's the least you could do. At least give us a cup trophy room. Since you got all the trophies in there, we could look at them after the race. It'd be cool. Here's a small one, but career mode. Again, it's just like it's a no-brainer, but like why can't we have our own custom team name? Like they give you 5, but like why couldn't you just be able to type it in? And if you want to go the extra mile, maybe have a system where we could like upload our own custom, team logos. Like it doesn't need to be, but like at least let us put our own custom team name in there. That's just like come on, man. I briefly kind of mentioned incentives in this game. There's just not a lot of incentive to do good. But I have one for especially like the playoffs. And that was one thing that actually bugged me about NASCAR Thunder 2004. If you won the championship, you didn't get any like money bonus for that. That would be another incentive to win the championship. How about give me some money afterwards? Some extra money for winning the championship. You should definitely get some extra money where you finished in the standings. Whether it's champion, 5th, 10th, you made the playoffs, great. But if you're a small team, there should definitely be incentives, big incentives for somehow making your way into the playoffs or having a deep run in the playoffs. There should be some big incentives for that, especially like maybe if you're an outsider looking in and just barely made it into the playoffs, maybe your team gets a boost, or if you're going on a playoff run, your team members, again, if you can hire them, if they have their own ratings, maybe they can get a boost for the playoffs. I think that'd be again, you could do a lot of stuff with this. 714, I'll give you guys my phone number. We could talk about this all day. Once again, a big part of the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode is basically just racing and waiting until you have enough money. That's why I thought having incentives for not only deep playoff runs, but other little things throughout the career mode would be a big help. But hopefully in the next couple of career modes, the next couple of games, we see some more features that emphasize, once again, like DNFs, racing clean, saving your equipment, and really managing your money. That's something NASCAR Thunder 2004, and I will fight anybody on this. They did that better than anybody, any other game. Managing your money in that game is incredible. And like last year, once again, I will volunteer my copy of NASCAR Thunder 2004 and my PS2. I'll ship it to whoever needs it. Then we can work on some new features for NASCAR E5. I think that about does it for my career mode. And once again, there's a lot of stuff I could put in there. All right, first up, proper engine failures. I remember before NASCAR Heat 4 came out, I was watching one of the dev streams. And I was really excited because I think it was Michigan. Clint Boyer blew up, and there was a big plume of smoke coming out the back of his car. I was like, man, that is so cool. I'll have to talk to somebody about it. I never saw it. Like it just never happened that way in NASCAR Heat 4 from what I've played. I want one of those big girthy plumes of smoke. Like somebody really blew up. I don't think that's too much to ask. This is a very small one, but this would help me stay sane. This is a small little feature from F1, from the F1 games. Just have a flying lap option in practice instead of a drive, because you have to drive out every single time. Give me a flying lap option. That would save so much time. That would be such a great quality of life improvement. Next up on the list, we got to talk about cautions. So this year we've got, actually I think it came in last year as well. The caution settings are like, what is it? Off, relaxed, strict. How about we work to have realistic cautions? Because when you put them on strict, you can clip the wall and get a caution, which makes no sense. But if you have it on relaxed yellow, you can have somebody flip into the grandstands and not get a caution. We need to have, like, I don't know how hard it would be, but just have, like, realistic yellows. Like, if somebody spins all the way around, caution. And another thing, I can't stand when the caution comes out too quick. Like, if somebody's wrecking in front of you at Daytona, you don't get a chance to drive through it. You know what I mean? It's just like the caution, it grabs a hold onto your car, and it either sends you through the crash and gives you, like, cosmetic damage or, you know, something along the lines of that. Give me a chance to drive through the crash first and then, you know, take control of my car. It's like that in NASCAR 2005, I noticed. If a caution comes out, it'll give you a good couple seconds to kind of, you know, drive, and then it'll take control of your car. But cautions definitely need a rework, and that goes for online too. Jeez. Online is a mess because you cannot put on strict yellows or you're going to have cautions every 2 seconds. But if you put it on relaxed, we have us in the core league, we got us flipping around and crashing left and right, but we don't get cautions. So we need realistic yellows. We need those to be reworked.
Still there. Got a car
Hey-o!
Oh, there he goes. Where is it? Where is it? No yellow.
Do we even turn cautions on?
I don't know.
What the hell? Talked about this earlier, but pit crew mistakes. That would have to happen because right now you just skip through your, like, there's no animation. You just drive down pit road under caution like NASCAR Thunder 2004. It'd be great to add that. That way, I'm not saying like manually because, look, it's an arcade game. We don't need all that manual stuff. As much as people ask for it, we don't need it. But it'd be great to drive down pit road. It drives you down pit road just like NASCAR Thunder 2004. Your pit crew either goes really fast or steps on their dick. They drop the jack or they miss a lug nut or whatever. But it also, the one thing that bothered me about NASCAR Thunder 2004 is there was no option to skip that. Just give us an option to skip that. Boom. Perfect. This is a very important one to me. 704, listen up. And this goes for all the other content creators out there. One of my favorite things to do when I make a NASCAR Heat video is get a sexy thumbnail shot. And I can't do that. I'll tell you why I can't do that. First off, if you miss the replay mode, like if you don't press replay mode and you go ahead to the finishing results, you can't go back to the replay mode. I don't know how many times I accidentally skipped through it and then that was it. I couldn't access the replay again, even though I was still in the race. You know what I mean? I was looking at the results. I couldn't go back. We need, like, once you finish the race, you should have the replay available at all times until you press quit and then ask you to quit. Yes, I want to quit, and then we're out. It should always be available to you. But we need to have, like, it's 2020. We need to have, like, a free roam camera system. Because right now, it drives me absolutely insane. Last year, in my NASCAR Heat 4 wishlist video, I asked for an option to take the overlays off. And they did that. But only half a point. Only half of it. Because if you go back through the replays that the game, like, generates for you, like if the AI cars crash, the overlays, like, there's no way to take the overlays off that side of it. It drives me nuts. And if you put it on, like, the TV camera angle, it rotates between stuff. So it'll rotate the far chase. And you constantly have to zoom in, zoom out. I think I have a rage clip of me trying to get a good TV camera angle. I'm gonna play that now. Oh my god, quit going to the fucking onboard. Fuck, I just want a TV shot. Is that too much to fucking ask? Fuck. I'm not kidding. This, like, it drives, like, how many episodes have I done in NASCAR Heat while I'm recording this? I'm in the 50s, I think. And it's like, at all those, like, you have to keep on back and forth to find the right camera angle. You know what I mean? Because you can't just, like, have a dedicated either TV camera angle system, or there's no free roam. So you just kind of have to scrub back and forth until you happen to hit the nail on the head. Drives me insane. So please, for the rest of us content creators, anybody who wants to get into recording gameplay for NASCAR Heat, please fix this for us. Next up, caution replays. Caution replays has been probably one of the most asked for features in NASCAR Heat that we have not got yet. I mean, all the way from NASCAR Heat Evolution. We still don't have caution replays. I know it's been talked about a lot from the NASCAR Heat devs. We haven't got there yet, but once again, NASCAR Heat 5, it's time to take the next step. The next step involves caution replays. This is probably the little bit I'll talk about the driving handling. I have brakes written down because the brakes need a big overhaul. I can't stand the brakes in this game. They added brake smoothing, but like we really shouldn't even need that. I just want to be able to step on the brakes and not wreck. I don't think that's too much to ask. The brake bias is almost like a non-existent. You have to put it at like 85% just to not wreck. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a big problem at a lot of the short tracks. I just want to be able to step on the brakes, the car to naturally turn, and if it doesn't naturally turn, if it wants to spin too much, then I'll put the brake bias back and adjust it that way. If you don't mind, best friend Mike. Jesus, this thing is like still as the short track braking crap. Step on the brakes, so like hook to the left. It's not fun. Keep on driving on the damn apron. It's like I either like drive really high. Like, you can't just stick the damn. Talk about this damn game. You just can't do anything right there in the middle. You either like you try to aim for the yellow line and you just like hook a left and go into pit road, or you just got to start up high so that way it slides down pretty close, but it's still not what you want. It sucks. I tightened it up, right? I tightened it up so it wouldn't do this. It still does it. I can't stand the brakes in this game. Road courses, short tracks, I just like the car pivots left and right just ridiculously. It's just bring it down a little bit for the brakes. But the car handling, obviously, it's not the best. The reason why I don't talk about it too much, it's an arcade game. It's not that bad for an arcade game. It can always get better. The devs know it can always get better. Everybody knows it can always get better. But like at the end of the day, it's really not that bad. And that's the last I'll talk about it. This year they brought in draft partners. And I do like draft partners. I like the idea of poor execution, and I'll tell you why. It seems to work well at the plate tracks for the most part, except for that one Xfinity race I had where everybody wanted to push me except for the end, and Austin Cindric literally won by like 2 seconds because I didn't have any draft partners for whatever reason. They just didn't want to work with me, so they sat behind me and didn't push me. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense at the plate track sometimes where they just like won't push you. Maybe I should just let somebody... Look at this, Cindric is literally driving away. And we're coming to the white flag and nobody's going to catch him because nobody will help me. What the damn? Come on. What the fuck is this? I'm pissed. Like, especially at the end. If there's somebody in front of him, you're going to be pushing him. I don't care who you are. But at the mile and a half, if I had a nickel for every time a draft partner came up and pushed me on the exit of a corner and shoved me into the wall, I'd have a lot of nickels. Please. It's okay. It's okay on the straightaways, but it's like I need a whistle for the exits and corners. I'm not trying to be pushing the wall. Look at that. It's just like it takes me straight up to the wall. I ain't trying to do that. And not only do they shove you into the wall, but when you try to return the favor, drafting buddies, I see a friend in front of me. I try pushing him down the straightaway, and it's like it's not even picked up as a bump draft. It's like you're actually hitting them. How many times have I got tweeted after a race where one of my best friends was upset at me because I hit him? I was just trying to bump draft him, but it's like it doesn't register. So once again, good idea, but like poor execution if you can't push them back without them nearly wrecking. The tires to... Come on, Tommy, how hard is it to drive straight? Why is it that this game programmed drafting buddies in, but like didn't program it so like you can bump them? What is that? They just wobble and then they mean tweet you at the end. That's the thing. I don't know how like if you could just copy what NASCAR Thunder 2004 did, share draft. That way I can make the rivals go down. Like if y'all could do that, that'd be great. I don't know if you can't, but it seems like it's like that's what you guys are aiming for. But it's like if you don't have enough of it to really it all work out well, if that makes sense. So just gotta execute a little bit better. Oh boy, this is my online section. Let's talk about online. Now I usually try to stay away from online racing on NASCAR Heat for a lot of reasons. Unfortunately, I've been running the Core League, which is fun. I do like racing with everybody. I do. I just don't really like NASCAR Heat 4 online. If you've ever watched one of my Core League streams, you know why I don't like online. It's very buggy. All the cars are in their own little realities, so literally almost everybody sees something different on their screen versus everybody else, which is a major problem. And just a little side note, if you got trolls in your lobby, you can't do nothing about it. They can always just join back. You can't just like ban them from anywhere. Props to NASCAR Heat though. They're finally starting to lay the ban hammer to people who were trolling in like the NASCAR Heat qualifying series for the pro stuff. So I'm glad they're starting to make some ground on that. But once again, this is the least I've streamed NASCAR Heat this year, just because it's there's more trolls and you can't really do anything about it. So NASCAR Heat 5 need a permaban option for us hosts. Or just some way you could just totally ban them from my life. Whatever works. Got a little esports tab in here. I've been completely discouraged from the esports qualifiers, and I'll tell you why. What are they racing for? $200,000 this year, which is great. I fully support esports. I don't know if I fully support it with NASCAR Heat, especially NASCAR Heat 4. Maybe NASCAR Heat 5 we make some more better improvements for online in the game, the core game. But, yeah, I don't think it's time for esports, especially when you don't have a dedicated test system. How? Like, I put myself, like, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I got up in the top 50, I think, esports at Charlotte. I basically just gave up at Bristol because trying to test the setup with 39 other cars on the track, AI cars that I just bulldozed through. Like, come on. How is there not a dedicated test system? Just so I can go out there and run some practice laps by myself so I can figure out a setup. That's, like, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, for me, that just, like, completely took away any interest I had in the esports. Not that I really wanted to go pro anyways, but I did kind of want to see what I wanted to do. I really didn't care after Bristol. And also a quality of life thing. It just really bugs the hell out of me. The only way you can change your setups is to back out of the online esports qualifiers, load into a quick race, pick your driver, pick your track. You'll load in for about 25 seconds. Then you got to go into the garage. You got to change your setup. You back out, save your setup, go all the way back out everything. Then you go back in. You see my point? There's got to be a thing, like if you're going to have online setups, whatever, custom setups, if you load out of the race or whatever, and you're still in the lobby, there should be a little pull up. You can change whatever in your setups, and then boom, be ready to go, and then you hop back into the race. That would just, it saves so much time, man. Small little quality life things, man. That's all I'm talking about. Continuing with the online theme, pit collisions. Again, we've seen a lot of this in the Core League on Thursday nights. I've been on the bad end of it quite a few times, and I've also witnessed a lot of other drivers getting screwed over by this. Again, it's been a hot topic recently.
No, wait, no, not again. Okay, we're good.
Dude, on my screen, I just like turned you 90 degrees sideways. What the hell?
That is a.
Oh, Sloppy turned me sideways.
Oh no.
Fuck you, Sloppy. I just don't understand. That's just, I feel like someone just didn't think about that. I mean, that's what it really feels like. How could you have pit collisions over something you can't control? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It obviously takes over for you down pit road, and once it takes over for you, you can't do anything. So why would you have pit collisions to screw the player? And then it's just out of your control. It makes no sense. So on to my last page. So we're just about done here. This year, before NASCAR 84 came out, back when Zane was still the community manager, he hit me up. He was talking about we were talking about custom schedules, and I got super excited because I thought we were going to be able to make our own schedules and select our drivers or whatever, and be able to do a bunch of cool custom stuff with that. And nope, Monster Games put in some preset custom schedules, and like all of them weren't even full schedules. I was super excited when I first heard about this, and then I was so disappointed when I got a hold of the game and saw it was just like what? If we're gonna do custom schedules, we're gonna do it right. All right? If you load in all these licensed tracks and we're going to have custom schedules, let me load them in the exact schedule, how many races I want, in whatever order I want. And if we're going to do a custom playoff schedule, I want to be able to put any driver I want in there with the series, all right? So if I want to do a custom, because the playoffs are different this year, 2020, oh boy. We got Bristol in there, we got Darlington in there. I want to be able to put my own custom drivers in there. Or, once again, we're going to do custom schedules. I want to make my own custom playoffs, The next step. It was close. Good idea. Just didn't quite get there. So, yeah, I believe that's really about it. Again, I could go into this stuff a lot deeper. I really don't want to make this an hour-and-a-half video because these always end up stupid long. But the point of this video is to absolutely get some positive discussion going because we all want to make this game better. So please do leave your feedback down below in the comments. Give us all your ideas. Give us all your criticism. That's what we're looking for. Once again, looking back at it, my biggest things for this game is we got to just clean up a lot of things and take the next step with a couple of features here and there. With career mode, we just need more incentive to run well and to run clean, and more little things to give it more a career mode feel. Like I said, like we talked about with the different sponsors, the smaller sponsor contracts, the ability to hire your entire crew all with different ratings, trophy case. Increased development, and you could just, I mean, that's a rabbit hole. You could just go down hours talking about how to pull it all together and all the little features you could do with those couple of things. Again, online just needs a little bit of a cleanup, a couple of quality of life adjustments here and there, and we got us a solid NASCAR Heat 5. So once again, it's not all of it. I know I'm going to remember like 10 things after I put this video together, but if I do remember anything, I'll put it down below in the comments. But absolutely, once again, I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you want for NASCAR 85. That'll do it. I appreciate y'all for watching, as always, and we'll see you guys in the next video.